We're back waiting for the mayor-elect to arrive at Earl's to speak with our Tiffany Goodwin. Right now, let's hear this conversation between Ramona Robbins and Tegan Russia, who spoke on the Zoom.
First of all, in your first campaign, you're currently sitting in third. How are you feeling right now?
Well, I think it's still pretty early, so I'm feeling cautiously optimistic, but I know it's a long night, so I'll just be waiting like everybody else to see what the voters have decided.
And you, with a lot of the other candidates, this is your first campaign. What is it about your background or your campaign that you think has made people want to vote for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's interesting when you're involved in an election because it feels like you're always asking for a favor. You know, vote for me. Could you vote for me? Please vote for me. So it's kind of hard going. I'm not used to sort of asking for help in that way.
And there you go. There she is arriving. Let's hear what the crowd has to say. I guess what they're saying is woo. Would you have expected anything else, Lisa?
Other than a woo?
Other than a woo. Maybe
well,
a yeehaw or a congrats?
Maybe, yes. A round of applause, which we're seeing right now.
Everybody looking to see anybody. Oh, first handshake. That's against COVID regulations. So, okay, so we can't tell, but you can tell by the look in her eyes, she's smiling. She looks very happy to have been, to be there. We weren't sure at what point of this evening that we would see her. So this has got to feel tremendous for somebody that took a chance on herself by taking a break from her job to run for mayor because she believed in the city.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely incredible. I look at her face and there's that shock, and I think you can see how humble she is and emotional. That would be a very difficult, I think, position to be in when you're walking into a crowd and hearing, the results and the numbers and the support that she has in the community. And as we're watching her, enjoy this moment, I think one of the quotes I recently heard is, leadership isn't about rank or seniority. It's about the desire to lead and having people who share that same vision that want to follow through.
Let's see if we can hear what she's saying here.
I am so humbled and grateful to have this opportunity, and I know that I will continue to need that support, and I hope that we're all in this together and we can take this ride together. And I know we're going to have some great counselors, and we're going to be able to work together to achieve some of the goals that we've outlined in our campaigns. So that's why we did this. And we have so much work to do. Let's get on it. Let's get on it.
She said the word we 4 times there. You've been talking about teams a lot tonight. It sounds as if she really understands that.
Yeah, well, and she's run a really, honest, authentic campaign, and that certainly has shone through. And I loved her statement right at the end. Let's get on it. Mm-hmm. She's ready to start and get to work and to see her campaign, her platform, her priorities through, and certainly willing to and wanting to rally people around her to make that happen.
Well, and the beautiful difference between municipal politics and the way that they do things elsewhere is we don't have to wait for the inauguration in January. She's going to get to work pretty much right away. Yeah,
so they have their committees, and that's going to be one of the challenging parts because there is a pretty quick turnaround. So November 1st is that, the organizational meeting of council, and so she will need to ensure that she gets a sense of where the different councillors align, what committees they're interested in serving in, making sure that they're aligned to their expertise. You obviously want to ensure you have the right people in the right positions doing the right things to move our city forward. And so that organizational meeting is a quick turnaround. And then of course there's a lot of training that goes into it. Lindsay's going to have the benefit of obviously knowing kind of the municipal side and the Municipal Government Act and some of the legislative and regulatory framework that the City Council has to abide by, but there's also a lot of other training that's going to take place in a very short time.
Very, very short time. She says we a lot. We need to say we more often. We have Regan and Lynette, Kurt and Curtis in the control room, and in addition to Lisa and myself here, Here's Mr. Scott Roblin right here in the newsroom. Scott.
Thank you, Dan. The results are starting to become a little bit more firm, both when it comes to the mayoral race and council. When it comes to the mayor of Medicine Hat, it has been projected Lindsay Clark will lead the city. She is up to over 11,000 votes, almost 7,000 votes more than the incumbent Mayor Ted Clugston. And there is Alan Rose, I should say, in third place at 1,343. It gets quite interesting when it comes to council, and this is very likely what we are going to see on council moving forward. Alison Knodel is your top vote getter at over 7,000 herself, followed by Andy McGrogan, Ramona Robbins, Robert Dumanowski, Allison Van Dyke, Cassie Hyder, Shyla Sharps, and Darren Hirsch, the incumbent, locking down number 8 when it comes to council. Something going to be very interesting, though, to watch over the last little bit tonight is 3 incumbents, Darren Hirsch, Brian Varga, and Phil Turnbull, are in 8th, 9th, and 10th places, respectively. So if there is going to be some changes, it's going to be those 3 incumbents fighting for that last spot.
Right, thank you, Scott Roblin. We also have Chris Brown on the web tonight. Tegan Rosher, you've seen several times. And we also have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Lisa. Landslide. Were you at any point today thinking Lindsay Clark by a landslide?
Well, again, it came down to earlier conversations. Is we saw some of the results and some of the anecdotally, some of the conversations that were happening in the community that placed Lindsay kind of as the front runner in terms of, I think Chat even did an informal poll and taking a look at some of those results. But what we weren't sure is, of course, we always refer to the silent majority and what was going to happen with, the voters who maybe aren't engaged on social media or the general public. And so we're starting to see some of those trends actually come to fruition.
Yeah, usually when somebody loses by this big a margin between Ted Clugston and Lindsay Clark, you can pinpoint a region where a reason why he lost the electorate. Ted said earlier tonight that it was probably COVID. Do you think that his leadership of this city council and their direction on COVID, or if I can not put words in your mouth, but just say direction or lack of direction on COVID, would you think that that is something that would have cost Ted Clugston this mayoral candidacy?
I think that's one of the reasons a lot of mayors didn't run again, quite frankly, is the challenges within COVID.
Right.
And we chatted earlier on in terms of, having an election in the midst of COVID when there's a lot of challenges and polarization and concerns within the community. I think Ted has done a really great job as our mayor, and I don't want to discredit the service that he's had to our community over his 8 years as mayor. But I do think this signals that desire for a transition, and I think we've been through a lot of change in the last 19 months, and perhaps the community is ready, ready for that and ready to see what Lindsay and the other members of council are capable of doing coming out of this pandemic, and seeing how we're going to get through our economic recovery and visioning for the future, because that's the other thing we have to remember, is that this election is not a one-issue election.
No.
It should never be. Sometimes, people will have the platform based on one issue or one circumstance or situation. But as an elected council, they are responsible for visioning for the future and looking at the next 4 years, and ideally actually the next 10, 20, 30 years, and being able to see the opportunity and the potential of what our community can be. And that's a pretty big responsibility for any elected representative.
Absolutely. But there's something that Scott Roblin and I talk about every night when we're talking about sports off the air, which people don't know. We usually talk about sports for 5 minutes before Scott talks about sports on the air for 6. But something we talk about quite often is, did this person win or did that person lose? Is this bigger than that sort of situation? Did Lindsay Clark win the election or did Ted lose the election? I know you're going around that a couple of different ways, and if you're asking me, I'm going to tell you that I think Lindsay Clark won this election. She came out, she spoke to people, she told people not what they wanted to hear, but I think what she wanted to tell people. And who she was. She was the only person that we saw on the forum who stood up here and introduced herself and said, I want to be your mayor. So personally, I think that she won the election, but I don't necessarily think Ted lost it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's not as black and white as that this time around.
Yeah, and I would agree, Dan. It's not black and white. It's not, you know, winning or losing. It's I think a lot of times in elections we're caught in this, you know, you vote for the person who's going to do the least amount of damage,
Right.
or, you know, voting against something.
Yeah.
You see that, you know, from time to time in different elections where people are voting against something.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, within this election, people are looking to vote for something, and aligning. You know, I've listened to a number of podcasts lately in terms of being for something and what are we moving towards and what are we voting for,
Right.
and what does that look like?
There's a lot of vitriol in this world. There's a lot of vitriol. We've seen a lot of people speak against Ted Clugston over the course of this. I hope that that Lindsay continues to see the positive stuff online, the little kids drawing chalk pictures of her and saying vote for her. I hope that she gets to keep some of that positivity before that online vitriol comes in, because you know as well as I do, it's out there.
Well, and I think one of the things that I really want to give the candidates credit for is the positivity they've shown towards each other and the camaraderie and, you know, supporting each other, as opposed to, you know, certainly there's been some of that in terms of backlash and negative comments, but from what I see, you know, there's this environment of support and camaraderie, and I think we do have to focus more on the positive aspects, not only of our incumbent candidates and the councillors who have come before to make our city what it is, but also to give credit to those councillors coming on and the potential that they will be bringing to our community moving forward.
I want to say positivity to you. Great job with this tonight. We're not going anywhere yet. Scott, you know I've always got your back, brother. What do you got for us right now?
Well, just some updated numbers when it comes to the mayoral race here in Medicine Hat. And I don't know if we projected this much of a landslide. Lindsay Clark up to 13,000 votes, almost 10,000 votes more than the incumbent Ted Clugston. It's something that has really been kind of the theme of the night. She came out to an early lead and has really been able to extend that lead over the last number of updates. So a pretty decisive victory for Lindsay Clark as she becomes the first woman to lead the city of Medicine Hat.
All right, thank you very much, Scott Roblin. Let's go back to the Mez now, where our Darren Rathwell is with Councillor Andy McGrogan. Gentlemen.
Hey, Ted? Guess I was a little embarrassed when we had fog.
Thanks for coming back to us, Dan. And we are again with Andy McGrogan, like you say. And we're going to talk about the showings in the standings here.
Yeah.
Pretty high up there. Close distance between yourself and the top candidate in the run. What's your thought on that?
Well, I'm thrilled that the citizens of Medicine Hat actually trusted me to vote for me and put me in that position. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm thrilled with the team of the candidates. It looks like are also doing well that I'll have an opportunity to work with. I'm very excited to serve the citizens of Medicine Hat, and I'm so thankful that I was given an opportunity. I don't know if it's appropriate yet, but I want to thank my team, my volunteer team. They've been magnificent. A lot of folks from the Corps Association, a big shout out to them. A few of my old retired police officers, and we knocked on a lot of doors and talked to a lot of people. And I'm super excited. And also, obviously, want to thank my wife for putting up with me the last month. So it's been quite a process. I am very excited to serve, and very excited to serve with the team of folks. And I have to throw a plug to Ramona Robbins. She's a dear friend, and it looks like she's #1 right now, which I don't like. But I'm really looking forward to working with the slate that I'm seeing.
Okay. So in regards to that, a lot of new blood coming in. You know, there's some thought there that perhaps it'd be better to have more of a mix of new and old. Are you concerned about not having enough former representation to help guide the new council?
Well, I saw from my door-to-door campaigning, which we did a lot of, that there was a big appetite for change. So I really felt there was change coming. I didn't realize it would be as much as it was, but yeah, there's some experience lost, but I know there's some really intelligent people that'll be sitting on council, and we all just need to actually focus on serving the citizens of Medicine Hat. Happy to be a part of it.
Okay, and you're obviously very passionate about this new chapter in your life. What brings about that for you?
Well, you know, I retired as the chief of police about 9 months ago, and I'm totally happy with that. I mean, I retired on my own term. Great. But I do have to tell you that I'm just excited just to actually still contribute. I love this city, and I'm looking forward to just continuing to contribute.
All right, Andy, I thank you again very much for your time.
Thank you.
And based on the showings, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. And we're going to throw back to you, Dan.
Darren Rathwell is there with Ross Levine. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Thank you, Andy McGrogan. Let's go back to Tegan Rasha. Tegan, give us an overall reaction of what people have been saying on the internets tonight.
Dan, the reactions online are very similar to what we're seeing at Tiffany and Darren's location. People are excited. They're happy about the new change. Not only is there a new mayor, but they have 6 new council candidates. So everyone who wanted change, this is what they've been voting for. Dan?
Darren Rathwell, Lisa Kowalski has been talking to people today who were voting, and all of them were saying they wanted change. They wanted change. They wanted to vote for women and no old white men. So there does appear to be an abundance of change here in Medicine Hat. So as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, you mentioned already that you're looking forward to working with the next group that are coming in. But as a resident of the city, do you feel there's a lot here to be optimistic about as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's lots of opportunity. Again, it depends if you look through a finite lens or an infinite lens in terms of future opportunity. And I've always been one to say this community has tremendous potential.
Okay.
And we have an incredible city. We have an incredible city already. So it's just a matter of what this council will do to take us forward into the future.
We'll find out what the council will do going forward, and we're going to find out what the mayor-elect has to say. Here's Tiffany Goodwin at Earl's with Lindsay Clark.
All right, Lindsay, how does it feel to be the first female mayor of Medicine Hat?
I feel so blessed. I feel thankful for all of my volunteers and my supporters. And I just feel so grateful that so many people have voted for me to enact my vision for the city, as well as the other councillors that are going to be elected. That is that desire for change.
Great. So you're obviously no stranger to City Hall. What will it be like to return, but in the mayor's chair?
It's going to be fantastic. I am so looking forward to seeing my friends and colleagues that I've grown to know and love over the last 4.5 or 5 years working with them there. I don't anticipate there will be much change in the relationships. I have some great relationships that I treasure, and just because I'm the mayor doesn't mean that I'm going to be any different of a person. So looking forward to it.
Great. So now results are still coming in for council. You saw a little bit of, who's in the top 8. Are you confident that you can work with this group of people?
Of course. We have a great batch of council candidates, 32 council candidates. And, just over the course of the campaign, we got to know each other a little bit. And really, it was truly collegial, and everyone was very kind. And I know that there's so many council candidates now that are looking for that change. So they've got, maybe some different ideas than I have, but I know for a fact that all of the people running just want what's best for the city.
Great. So throughout the campaign, there's been a lot of talk of, we need to get rid of the old boys club. Just looking at the list of candidates that we have as council right now, do you think that happened?
Well, that's a process. I mean, really, it's about treating people fairly and equitably, making sure that everyone that comes to the city is treated with the respect, kindness, and fairness that they deserve.
Great. And I got to ask, what are you doing for the rest of the night?
Well, I'm really looking forward to going down and celebrating with my supporters and my volunteers, and hopefully we can just relax and take a bit of a breather and just celebrate together, because this is, you know, this is a hard-fought win, and I'm, again, just so grateful.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. Back to
Tiffany
you, Dan.
Goodwin, along with camera person Derek Bray, down at Earl's tonight. Thank you to both of them for being here. And our camera guys here, it's Andrew, it's Frank, it's Curtis. There's been a tremendous team working on this. And now let's talk about the team that's going to be leading our city for the next 4 years, along with Lisa Kowalczyk from the Medicine District Chamber of Commerce. All right, so Lisa, let's look at some numbers and some people's names and stuff, shall we?
Yeah.
So we've got Lindsay Clark as mayor.
Right.
So Lindsay has won with a tremendous landslide. And so we see the numbers here. So Lindsay with 13,000, Ted with 4,600. And then we see that we have to mention Michael Starner again, 126 votes for him, good for him. And Tony Leahy, 319, and Alan Rose third with 1,562.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons for all of them and their families and supporters to be proud tonight.
Absolutely. I think, again, anybody who chooses to run for office, again, any level of government deserves thanks and recognition for their time. And then, of course, we go to our council candidates.
This is our new council, so here you go. This is a tremendous group of people that are now going to be responsible to hold the new mayor in check. I get the impression that along with this council and the mayor, that there's the potential for these guys to work really well together.
Absolutely, and I would probably argue your point in terms of holding the mayor in check, because the mayor is also only one vote on council, and it is their responsibility to rally the troops, to bring people together, to clarify issues, to assist in leading the charge. But they are just one vote on council. Mm-hmm. And in addition, I think one of the roles that our mayor plays is, of course, an ambassador for our community. And so that's really important when not only are they out and about in our community, but as they go across the province and across Canada for their various responsibilities and connecting with other leaders, is to put, you know, the best foot forward for our community and to make sure we're well represented.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
It is just one person, but that group works together for us. So when you're communicating with them, let's be positive for as long as we can, shall you? We'll be right back at 11 o'clock tonight with a recap of everything from tonight. I'm Dan Reynish. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for choosing Chat tonight, and congratulations to all of the winners tonight here in our city.